Hi, so ready to begin with the reading module? Great. Well, in this lesson, first we'll have a quick revision of what we have already covered in the orientation session. Next, we will give a quick overview to the question paper of this module, with which we'll also understand the different types of questions. And at the end of this lesson, we'll look at the instructions. In fact, we'll understand the instructions with their importance for each type of question. All right, let's begin. So, if you have seen the orientation session, I hope you remember that the reading module is different for academic and for general training, correct? Just a quick look to the similarities. In case of reading academic, you will have total 60 minutes of time only, in which you have to solve total 40 questions. In these 60 minutes, you are supposed to read the passages, read the questions, answer the questions in the question paper, and then transfer them to the answer paper as well in case of paper-based test. In case of computer-based test, you will have to mark the answers, type your answers within 60 minutes. You will not get extra time to transfer your answers to the answer paper. Remember this. So, in case of reading academic, we know that there are total 60 minutes in which we have to solve total 40 questions. There would be 3 sections, section 1, section 2 and section 3. Each section will have 13 or 14 questions, not less than 13, not more than 14, alright, because they need to balance it. Okay, each question will carry 1 mark, alright. This much is what we have understood is there for academic, and if you remember, all this is same for general training. Let us have a quick look at general training reading as well. So what do we see? Total 60 minutes of time, total 40 questions, number of sections 3, section 1, section 2 and section 3. You have to solve 13 or 14 questions in each section. Each question will carry 1 mark, right? So if this much is same, then what is the difference? Well, let's look at it. In case of reading academic, each section will have one long passage of about roughly 800 to 900 words, roughly. Now, these texts are normally taken from different sources like books or journals, magazines, newspapers, etc. Well, these texts, from wherever these are taken, these are written for a non-specific audience. Remember this, okay? It's not that if there is a topic of, let's say, engineering, it doesn't mean that this passage was written for specific people who have completed their engineering or who are engineers. All right, it's not like that. It's whatever text or whichever passage you get in your exam is taken from those books or journals or any other source wherein they are written for non-specific audience. All right, I hope this much is clear. Yes. So what do we see in case of academic? Each section will have one long passage. Well, let's go to general training. In case of general training, section 1 and section 2 will have 2 small texts. Okay. Section 3 will have 1 long passage. Now, section 1, wherein there would be, let's say, 2 texts, text 1 and text 2, each text will have roughly 6 to 7 questions. 6 to 7, so that the total comes to 13 or 14. Same for section 2. In case of section 2 also, there would be 2 texts, text 1 and text 2. Each text will have 6 or 7 questions, right? So that the total comes to 13 or 14. Because they need to balance, we just understood? Correct. Section 3 will be similar to that of academic. Now understand this. When I say similar, it doesn't mean it would be same. The passage would be different, the length would be similar, the types of questions would be similar, the difficulty level would be similar, but the passage would be different. All right? I hope this is clear. Great. Okay. So now for general training, the texts are taken from different sources like notices, timetables, job descriptions, contracts and training material, newspaper, magazines, fictional and non-fictional books. All right. So what do we see the difference is? All in all, by and large, the difference is only in section 1 and section 2, wherein section 1 and section 2 of academic will have one long passage each. In case of general training, section 1 and section 2 will have 2 texts each. Understood? Great. Now, we also understood the band scores for reading. If you remember, your raw score would be calculated out of 40. Why? Because there are 40 questions, correct? But your band score would be calculated based on how much you scored out of 40, correct? We also saw that these band scores are differently calculated for academic and for general training. Let's look at it once again. So, for example, if an academic candidate needs to score 7, he or she would require 30 to 31 correct answers. If a general training candidate needs 7, then they would need 34 to 35 correct answers. Correct? We saw this difference. What does it mean? It means that general training kind of scoring in general training is slightly difficult, but then at the same time passage, or let's say section 1 and section 2, wherein there are small texts, right? So that makes it simpler, right, for a general training candidate to get to the answer faster. So all in all, we can say that be it academic, be it general training, they have their own set of challenges, right? In case of academic, the passages are lengthier. In case of general training, even if the passages are small, after all, there are like section 1 and section 2, there are two small texts, right? So even if the passages are small, scoring a better band needs more correct answers, right? Okay, so we have completed the revision of what we have already done. Now, in the next part of this lesson, we will look at the question paper of this test. See you there. Alright, so before we look at the samples of the question papers, we will first look at the different types of questions that you may get for your reading module. Okay, so as you can see on your screen right now, there are different types of questions such as number 1, multiple choice questions, true, false not given, yes, no not given, short answer questions, sentence completion, matching the sentence endings. Then we have something called summary completion, note completion, flow chart completion or table completion. Apart from these types, we also have matching the headings. That means you get list of headings and you have to match the headings to the paragraphs. Then you also have matching the information. Then you have to match names to the features. Sometimes there is something called labeling the diagram also. And we also have summary completion, note completion, flowchart completion and table completion. Well, so these are the different types of questions that you get for your reading module. Now, what are these different types of questions? How are they created? What do they look like? How would I identify if it is matching sentence endings or matching information? What is the meaning of not given in yes, no, not given type of questions? What is the difference between true, false, not given and yes, no, not given types of questions? All right, wait. We will come to all these questions slowly and gradually. Now, First, answer my question. So, if you can see on your screen, I have divided these types of questions in two parts. If you can see, there is one side, there are certain questions written on the left hand side, and then there are certain questions written on the right hand side. Correct? I have a question to you people. Why? Why do you think these sets, these types of questions are divided in this format? Or in this pattern for that matter? Look at it. Try to think about it. Why? Couldn't think of it? No guesses? At least try. Try to think of it. Anyway, I'm not going to answer this right now, but I want you to stay with this question for some time longer. Now, next, once again, look at your screen and tell me, do you have a question? Do you see something on the screen that makes you think, why is it written like this? Or anything that you think of, that you can notice on the screen right now. Please pause and look at the screen once again and identify what you see on the screen which gives you a question mark. So, if you have noticed, there are certain types of questions which are written on both the sides, left side as well as right side. Which are these questions? Summary completion, note completion, flowchart completion, and table completion. You see, they are written on both the sides. Plus, why are these questions divided in two parts? So, I leave you with these two questions right now. I want you to think about it, ponder over it if you can. Meanwhile, we'll just look at the sample question paper for academic and for general training. Let's have a look. So, on your screen right now is a sample of how your reading academic paper would look like. Let's just quickly have a look at it. So, what do we see? Okay, certain instructions are given. All right, once asked, you will just open the paper and you will see that there is written reading passage 1. With that, there are some instructions. It says you should spend about 20 minutes on question 1 to 13, which are based on reading passage 1 below. Then I also see that there is a heading given for this passage. Then let's look at it. It seems to be a lengthier passage, roughly of 2 pages, as we have seen, around 800 to 900 words. Then the questions for this passage start. The first set of question, I would say, let's call it set 1. The first set of questions for this passage is, what is it? It is to complete the notes below. Alright, so some notes are given wherein there are questions, question 1, question 2, 3 and 4. You have to complete this based on what is there in the passage, correct? And you have to choose one correct word from the passage. Okay. Next, let's go to the next set. We see then there are some questions which are from, let's say, the set 2. For this passage, set 2 is wherein you have to answer questions from 5 to 7. And these questions are based on true, false and not given. Okay. All right. Well, have patience. We'll understand how to solve and what is the meaning of true, false and what is not given and all. Have patience. So far, we have seen that 7 questions are over. But if you remember, the instructions in the beginning of the passage said you have to solve question 1 to 13. That means this passage has more set of questions. We have seen set 1, we have seen set 2. Now we have set 3. Okay, now this set 3 has questions from 8 to 13. Well, this gives a feeling that this is the last set for this passage because the 13th question is already written in the instruction. And it says you have to complete the table below. Alright, a table is given. and there are some blanks from question 8 till 13 which you have to find the answers from the passage and write the answers. Well, let's move ahead. What do we see now? We see reading passage 2. All right. Again, what are the instructions? It says you must spend about 20 minutes on questions 14 till 26 based on the reading passage 2 below. Now we have the heading again, and then the passage starts. If you notice, in the first passage, the name, or let's say the paragraphs, were not labeled with the letters, right? Here we see that paragraphs, or in this case, let's call it section. There are sections. Let's say the passage is divided in different sections, and each section is labeled by a letter. All right, well, let that be the case. Let's see what is the length of this passage. Roughly again 2 pages, if you can notice. Again around 800 to 900 words, roughly, approximately. It can be a little more or a little less. Okay, don't be stringent with these numbers also. Okay, so now what do I see? Question 14 to 18. This is set 1 for this passage. Okay, what is this? It says reading passage 2 has 7 paragraphs A to G. Which section contains the following information? So these are the information given to you, and you have to find which information matches with which section. Well, we'll understand how to do that. But for now, let's just look at it that there are different sets of questions, right? The second set for this passage is from question 19 to 22. What are you supposed to do here? You have to complete the summary below. All right, so a summary is given and you have to find the right word to fit in the blanks. Very well, but still question 22. That means there are 4 more questions left, correct? Let's look at it. Question 23 and 24. Well, what is this again? Now, here you have to choose 2 letters A to E and you have to write the correct letter in the boxes 23 and 24 on the answer sheet. Okay. Now, this is a type of multiple choice, which is what we will cover in the next part of this lesson. So, don't worry. Just roughly understand that this is another type of multiple choice questions. Okay. What do we see? That for the same passage, after set 3 is over, there is set 4, which is again of the same type. That is multiple choice questions type 2. Let's name it that for now. So what did we notice so far? That passage 1 had 3 sets. Passage 2 has 4 sets of questions. Well, let's move on to passage 3. In passage 3, there are total, again, how many questions? 14 questions, which they advise you to spend roughly 20 minutes on it. Again, we notice that there is a heading, and now we see that there are paragraphs, but they are not labeled, right? Okay, let's just scroll down. Okay, we see that again the length of the passage is roughly 2 pages, and then the very first set starts. The first set for this passage, set 1, is to find the correct letter from the given options. So this is clearly the common multiple choice question type which you know already. That means there is one question given and there are 3 or 4 options given, and out of these 3 or 4 options you have to choose the correct answer. Multiple choice questions. Okay, so this is the first set for this passage. We scroll down, we see that there is second set. This second set has again some questions, let's say 5 questions are there. What do we see here? Well, it says, look at the instructions, it says, look at the following information, questions 33 to 37, and the list of explorers below. Match each statement with the correct explorer. So there are different statements given, and then there is a list of different explorers. You have to find out which information or which sentence matches with which explorer. Okay? Interesting, no? On this screen right now, I would like to bring your attention to something called NB. What is NB? Nota bene, basically note below. Well, look at this. It says you may use any letter more than once. Again, we'll come to this in the next part of this lesson. For now, just understand that sometimes in certain cases, we may get some instructions like this, NB. Alright, let's just scroll down. We still have another set, which is set 3 for this passage, and this set is to complete the summary. So there is a summary given to you, and you have to find the correct words from the passage and then mark it in your answer sheet. Alright, now when I see question number 40 over here, I would say yes, the questions are over. The sets are completed for the last passage also. Okay, now what does it mean? Why are we focusing on the 40th question specifically? Well, you must have probably noticed, if you have started solving the reading passages, that many a times, well, not many a times, but sometimes, okay, let's just say sometimes, what happens is the 40th question, the very last question, sometimes is on the next page, and there are 3 sets already completed. The candidate feels that, okay, 3 sets for this passage, it's over. So maybe due to the exam pressure or being in a panic state, sometimes they forget to turn the page and see if there is another question left or not. So till the time you see the 40th question on your question paper, make sure that the set is, or rather the passage is not yet over. I must say the questions for the passage are not yet over. What does it mean? Once again, sometimes there are odd questions like give a title to this passage, or one single multiple choice can come as one last set. That means in this entirely new set of multiple choice questions, there could be just one question, which could be the question number 40. So till 39, there are already 3 sets. The candidate feels that, okay, 3 sets are over. There must be 3. Why would there be 4th one? Oh, okay. Wait, hold on. There is a possibility of the 4th set as well. Till the time you see question number 40 on your question paper, make sure that you keep turning the pages. Alright. So far we have seen a sample of how an academic reading test looks like. Now, let's look at how a general training reading test looks like. Okay. So once again, what do we have here? Certain instructions which would be written on the front page of your question paper. Then once you start your test, you will see, now this is for general training. Look at this. It says section 1. Section 1 has questions from 1 to 14. But then look at this. It says read the text below and answer questions 1 to 6. There is a text. It has questions 1 to 6 only. Not 1 to 14. 1 to 14 is for section 1. In this section 1, there are 2 texts. Text 1 has questions 1 to 6. Okay. So let's look at the text. Alright. What do I see? Well, there is a heading and the text is really small because now the question starts. It's just of 1 page, if you can notice. So, what is it? We see that there is just a small text which is then followed by questions. Question 1 to 6. And if I say this is set 1 for this text, set 1 means a set of questions. right? This is just one set of questions for one text. Question 1 to 6. That's it. Finish. Over. There is no set 2. There is just one set of questions for first text. Okay. Let us see what's there in the next text of the same section. So, it's now this says read the text below and answer questions 7 to 14. Now, here I would say section 1 will get over after I see the question number 14. Now, this second text has again a heading. All right. Let's look at the length of it. Oh, okay. Again, pretty small, not like academic. And it has questions 7 to 14. In fact, these questions 7 to 14 are in just one set, set 1. And this set of questions is asking for finding which statement is true for which paragraph. Basically, you have to match each sentence given in the form of a question to the given paragraphs. Because if you noticed, the paragraphs are labeled with different headings as well as letters. Interesting, no? Here also we see some instruction like NB, which is you may use any letter more than once. Wait, hold on, we'll come to that later. But what do we notice here? In section 1, there are 2 texts, right? Text 1 has 6 questions. Text 2 again has questions from 7 to 14. Yes? And in both the texts, we saw that there is just one set of questions for each, right? Of course, the question types are different. In one we saw it was true, false, not given. In another one, we have to match the information with the paragraphs. All right, but do we see there is another set of question for the same text? No. Let's move on to section 2 of general training. So here in section 2, we see questions are from 15 to 27. All right. But once again, it says read the text below and answer questions 15 to 22. Not till 27. Okay. Till 22. Once again, I see that there is a heading. Let's just observe the length. All right. Again, the length seems to be smaller. Well, let's see the questions. So here we have questions 15 to 22, all in set 1, right? So there is just once again one set of questions for one text. In case of academic, there are 3, 2 or 4 sets of questions for one passage. I should say multiple sets of questions for one passage. In case of general training, what do we see? So far, one set of question for one text. All right, let's see. So this particular set is asking to complete the notes below. All right, let's move on to the next text of this section. It says the text below, you have to read it and answer the questions from 23 to 27. And what is this? Again, we have the heading of the passage. Further, we scroll down, we see again the length is smaller. All right. Now the questions, again question 23 to 27, all in set 1. That means again there is just one set of questions, which is to complete the sentences below. Well, let's move on to section 3. Okay, so now I see section 3, it says questions are from 28 to 40. And now it says read the text below and answer questions 28 to 40. All right. Now, this again has one heading. I also see that the paragraphs are divided or rather paragraphs are labeled by a letter. That's fine. And what do I observe? Well, again, the length of the passage here is much bigger compared to the smaller text in the previous sections rather. Do you now observe how section 3 of general training is similar to the sections of academic? Let's just look at it further. So what do we see? Okay, long passage. Let's scroll down. We have questions from 28 till 40 for this passage, and here I see questions 28 till 31. So I would say this is set number 1, which is asking me to choose the correct letter for the given statement, which is more like multiple choice questions once again. When I scroll down, I see question 32 till 36. That means this is set number 2 for again the same passage, which is asking to do what? Which section contains the following information? Alright, so certain information are given which you have to match to the given paragraphs. Alright, means which sentence is present in which paragraph. Okay, when I scroll down, I see, alright, there is again another set number 3 for the same passage, which is to complete the summary below. Again, interesting, I must say. So this is your third set for the same passage. Yes, wherein you have to complete the summary. Now, did you observe how the third section of general training test is similar to that of an academic test? Alright, so this was just a quick overview of how the tests look like. Did you also notice that the third section, or rather let me say the passage in the third section of the general training test was not the same to that of the third section passage of an academic test? It can't be. Did you notice that the passages were different, the questions were different, but then they were of almost same type, right? The passage, the length of the passage was also almost the same. It can't be exactly same, obviously. Alright, so this was just to bring to your notice how academic and general training are different and same in different areas. This much is clear. Correct? Great. Alright, so now in the next part of this lesson, we'll understand the importance of reading the instructions carefully. Okay? See you there. So, in the previous part, when we were looking at the sample question paper of academic or of general training, did you observe that there were different types of questions? Correct? Sometimes it was complete the summary, complete the notes, sometimes multiple choice questions, and then sometimes it was matching the features with the explorers, or sometimes with the scientists. Let's just say names, matching certain features with the given names, the list of the names. Sometimes it was true, false, not given type of questions. Sometimes you have to find the correct information which is present in which paragraph. So there were different types of questions throughout. But with each type of question, did you notice that there were certain instructions also present? Correct? In this part of this lesson, we are going to focus more on understanding the instructions. This habit I want you to inculcate from now onwards. That means from now on, whenever you're solving your reading passage or reading exercises, you have to make sure that you pay attention to the instructions. Let us look at them closely. So, the first type of questions, which is multiple choice questions, and I would say there are two different types of multiple choices that or let's say multiple choice questions that you may get in your exam. So first, let's understand the first type of MCQs. So here, if you see an example, what do we see? We see that it says there are questions 32 to 35, and you have to choose the correct letter A, B, C or D to write them in the box 32 to 35 on your answer sheet. Well, for example, let's just look at a sample answer sheet also. Okay, so this was question number 32. Let's say the answer for 32 is A. Just an example, okay? So your answer, the box number 32 is this one. You will write A over here. That's it. Your instructions are clear. They are asking you to write just the correct letter. They are not asking you to write the entire sentence as your answer. You will just write the correct letter in the given box, which is numbered. Rather, you see all the boxes are numbered from 1 till 40. So you have to place the right answer in the right box. Got it? This is for paper-based test. In the next part of this lesson, we'll also be talking about how to solve this for computer-based test. So have patience. So this was just the first type of multiple choice. This is something that we are already aware of. That's how multiple choice questions are created. You are given multiple choices, out of which you have to choose only one correct answer to the given question. Yes? Let's move on to the second type of multiple choice. Here what do we see? It says questions 21 to 22. That means when you read this particular question, which is, for example, which two of the following statements are made in the text about Amsterdam today? It is talking about two statements which are made in the text. Alright. What are you supposed to do? You have to find two correct answers from a given list. Here the list is of 5 options. It can be of 6 options also, 4 options also, depends. But out of the given list, you have to find 2 correct answers. Sometimes it can be find 3 correct answers. Okay. Now what would you do? You would write these answers in the boxes 21 and 22 on your answer sheet. Look at this. So these are your boxes 21 and 22. And let's just say, for example, your correct answer is, let's say, A and C. So here you will write A, and in the box 22 you will write C. Now, for example, if you do not write A and C in sequence, if you first write C and then you write A, is that fine? Yes, absolutely, 100% fine. The sequence of the answers will not matter for these two questions. Which two questions? Question 21 and 22 in this particular example. So whenever you're solving multiple choice questions type 2, that means out of one single list you have to find more than one correct answers. In that case, the sequence of the answers would not matter. Now this also means, for example, if you're not able to find both answers accurate, let's say by mistake you found one correct answer, let's say you found C as your correct answer, and next you found E as the correct answer. What would you do? You would write C in box 21 and you would write E in box 22. Correct? In this case, you will get only 1 mark. You will not get 2 marks. And it also doesn't mean that you will not get any mark. You could find one correct answer, so you will definitely get 1 mark. Understood? Great. So this is second type of multiple choice questions. Okay. Now let's move on to the next type of question, which is true, false, not given. With this, we will also do yes, no, not given. Now in case of true, false, not given, look at the instructions. They say, do the following statements agree with the information given in so and so passage, whichever passage it would be. Here the example is passage number 1. And now look at this. What are you supposed to do? In boxes 8 to 13 on your answer sheet, you have to write true. This is what you have to write. T-R-U-E, true. When will you write true? If the statement agrees with the information. You have to write false, F-A-L-S-E. When would you write this? When the statement contradicts the information, and you will write not given if there is no information on this. So when you read the question and while reading the passage, you are not able to find anything related to this, you will say it's not given. If you find that yes, it is absolutely matching with what the statement is, like basically the statement and the passage is matching, then you will write true. If the statement is contradicting to what is there in the passage, then you will write false. Something similar is there for yes, no, not given. The words are different, but the concept is pretty much the same. Well, you will write yes in the box if your answer, or rather if the statement given is agreeing with what the view of the writer is in the passage. You will write no if the statement is contradicting to the view of the writer in the passage again. You have to write not given if it is impossible to say what the writer thinks about this. Okay, so remember, in case of true, false, not given and yes, no, not given, normally the candidates face certain challenges. Number one, instead of writing true, they end up writing yes, or vice versa. Instead of writing yes, they write true. Now, even after being correct, you do not get correct mark for that. If the question is asking you to write yes, and if you write true, then you will get 0 mark for that. That means, again, it is very important to look at the instructions. Apart from this difference, I would say there is something again slightly different in case of true, false, not given and yes, no, not given types of questions, which we will understand a lot in detail once we deal with these types of questions. Okay. So far, let's just look at the instructions only. Okay. So let's continue. Next type of question is short answer questions. Now, these can also be categorized as fill in the blanks. Well, you look at this. The question says, which part of some step wells provide shade for people? What if I just remove the word which and I put a blank over here? I would say dash part of some step wells provided shade for people, correct? So it's very easy to convert, short answer questions into a fill in the blank type of question. But still, that's not what I'm trying to bring your attention to. Your attention should be more on the instruction which says choose one word only from the passage for each answer. That means you cannot write more than one word for these questions. Now here again and again I might force on this rather to bring your attention to these instructions. See, it says write or choose one word only. You cannot choose more than one word to answer these questions. If you do, your answer would be wrong. I hope you are understanding. So these instructions here are very, very important. Very important. Okay. Next, look at this. Next type of questions. It says again sentence completion. This is purely fill in the blank. Okay. You have to fill in the given blanks. And you have to fill them with what? With, look at this. Again, the instructions. Choose no more than 3 words. You're not supposed to choose more than 3 words. Okay. From the passage. When it says no more than 3 words means what? Means you can have less than 3 words, but you cannot have more than 3 words. Means your correct answer can be 3 words, 2 words or 1 word. It cannot be more than 3 words. Do you understand the instructions? No more than 3 words. So 2 words, yes. 1 word, yes. 3 words, absolutely fine. 4 words, absolutely wrong. So if in case if the instructions are like this and if you find an answer which is of more than 3 words, then that's the wrong answer. You have not got the correct answer. Just a way to identify if your answers are correct or not. Well, we will not rely on this method. Of course, we need to read and understand and find the correct answer. But still, these instructions are very important. Very. They help us. They literally help us to find the correct answers. Alright? Okay, next comes matching the sentence endings. This also I will say can be categorized as fill in the blank. What I'll do, let's say it says matching the sentence endings, right? So what I can do, I can just put a blank at the end of each sentence and you just have to fill these blanks with the correct options given in the list below. Look at this. It says complete each sentence with the correct endings. The endings are A to G. From A till G, the endings are given. So when I read the question, see it says employees whose values match those of their employers are more likely to. And for example, the answer is take chances. So what will I do? Are more likely to dash. So I will write my answer as take chances. Will I do that? No, absolutely not. Look at the instructions. Write the correct letter A to G in the boxes 31 to 35 on your answer sheet. So you will not write the entire answer. You will simply write the letter that belongs to that answer. So my answer would not be take chances. It would be simply A, because that's the letter dedicated to this option. Simple. Understood? Had these options been lengthier, you could have understood this earlier. But when I said I'll write take chances, you must have said, yeah, correct. No, it's not correct. Because, see the importance of instructions. Because the instructions are saying, write the correct letter A to G in the boxes. You don't have to write the entire answer in the boxes. You just have to write the correct letter in the box. Got it? Do you notice the importance of instructions? Well, let's move on to the next type. Well, this is summary completion. Again, in IELTS, I would say there are two types of summary completion. Okay, one which you are probably aware of already. You must have done that in your school days when you got a passage, an unseen passage maybe, and then a summary which you had to fill in with the help of the words given in the passage. Something similar. Look at this. It says you have to complete the summary below. Plus you have to choose no more than 2 words. You can't choose more than 2 words from the passage for each answer. That means whichever blank is given, you have to fill in with the words which are there in the passage, and these words cannot be more than 2 for each answer. That means the words can be less than 2 but not more than 2 for each answer, of course. So your answer can be 1 word, your answer can be 2 words, but it cannot be more than 2 words. Alright, I hope it's getting clearer. Great. Alright, so this is the common type of summary that we know. There's another type of summary that you may get in your IELTS exam. Let's have a look at that. Here again the questions are 27 to 31 for example, and it says complete the summary. Again it's a summary. Complete the summary using the list of words A to L below. Now what is happening here? You are given a list of words. Look at this. There are words from A till L. Alright, we have a list given and I have to find a correct letter A to L to fill in the boxes 27 to 31, whichever question set it is, in the answer sheet. In this case, what am I supposed to do? Let's say your question is 27. So you will first have to find the correct answer in the passage. You will first have to find the correct answer in the passage, and based on what is there in the passage, you have to find the synonym of that in the given list. And this synonym will be your answer for question 27 in this case. Are you understanding? Once again, so when you are given an extra added list of words. These words can be synonyms of words which are there in the passage. These words can be, let's say, there can be paraphrasing, a lot of paraphrasing in the passage, and that paraphrasing is just summed up in a word or two in the given list. And you have to find that which word matches, or which option matches with that what is given in the passage, right? Based on the summary, of course. So when you are reading the summary and you come to the question, you have to see what is the correct answer based on the passage. You can't just do a random guess and choose any answer from the given list. You have to choose the correct answer from the list. So you will pick the right word first in the passage, and with the help of that word or phrase, you will find what matches with it in the given list, and then the letter designated to that word or words will be your right answer for the question in the summary. Clear? Still confused? Don't worry, we will be dealing with this in one of the sessions a lot in detail. Okay? Cool. Let's move on. So the next type here we have is to complete the notes below. Now this is again similar to fill in the blanks. Whenever it is, did you notice so far, whenever it is more of fill in the blank type of questions, it's always having some instructions like one word only, or no more than 2 words, or no more than 3 words. So there is a limit of words. They have always given you a limitation, right? And this is what is very important. In this case, it says 1 word only. That means your answer for all the questions from 19 till 22 will be in just 1 word. Simple as it is. Okay? This is simple. I'm hoping that by now this is clear, that whenever it is more of fill in the blanks, you will see that the instructions are always giving you certain limitation of words. Now this is another example of flowchart completion, where again what do we see? There are questions from 25 to 30, and again we see certain blanks over here. Again we can categorize this as fill in the blanks. So again we have to see if there is a limitation of words. Yes, it has. It says write 1 word only for each answer. So once again, same logic. Whenever you're finding the right answer for this set of questions, you will find only 1 word from the passage. Okay. Next we have, alright, wow, table completion. In this, once again, what do we have? We have blanks, right? Again, this is categorized as fill in the blanks. We can, correct? Further, if it is fill in the blanks, what do we see? Once again, it has limitations of words. It says choose 1 word and or a number. Interesting, right? So here the limitation is not just of words, it is also of numbers. That means, okay, let's just first understand what are the possibilities of correct answer. So for example, it says 1 word and or a number. Let me remove this word or for time being. So it says 1 word and a number. Okay. So let's say my answer is 1 word and a number. So this is what I can say. My answer can be of 1 word and a number. Okay. Or maybe a number and a word. It's not necessary that the word will come always after the number, or the number will come after the word. Anything can come anywhere. However, if I now focus on the word or, right, that means my answer can be just 1 word, because it says 1 word or a number. So my answer can be just 1 word possible. My answer can also be just 1 number, because once again, what is it saying? It says 1 word or a number. So these are the possibilities of my answers for this particular set of questions. If the instructions are, for example, no more than 3 words and or a number, well, in this case, your answer can be 1 word, it can be 2 words, it can be 3 words, or just a number. However, your answer can be 1 word and a number, 2 words and a number, 3 words and a number. Alright. So all of these would be the possibilities of finding the answer from the passage if the instructions are no more than 3 words and or a number. So be careful with the instructions. Whenever they give an option of having a number in your answers, they will always present it as and/or. And in that case, you will see that at least one answer for the given set of questions. Let's say there are 5 questions in this set. So at least one question will be answered with one number at least. There can be words to this answer, but at least in one answer there would be a number. Understood? Alright. Now, next, what do we have? It's matching headings. Okay, this is also known as list of headings. And in fact, I have seen many candidates getting a lot scared of these questions. This particular type of question confuses a lot to many candidates. But don't worry. When we cover this in one of the following lessons, we will be dealing with this type also a lot in detail. Once we do that, I guarantee you, you will find it much easier. Alright. So have patience and let's just focus on the instructions as of now. Okay. So we have a list of headings and the instructions are reading passage so and so has 7 paragraphs A to G. Just an example. What are you supposed to do? You have to choose the correct heading for each paragraph. There are paragraphs A to G. And you have to find a correct heading for each paragraph. And these headings, the list of headings is given below. And then what are you supposed to do? You have to write the correct number. Which number? 1 to 9. How are these numbers written? Are they written in cardinal numbers, in the format of cardinal number? Are they written in ordinal number? If they are written in ordinal, is it capital or is it small? Look at the instructions. It is clearly writing you have to write correct number 1 to 9, which is written in small ordinal numbers, and that's what you will write. Correct? You will write in your boxes these numbers. Clear? You see instructions and their importance. Alright. Next, matching information. Now what does it mean? So there would be certain information given to you. These sentences you have to match and find in which paragraph of the given passage they are present. Look at this. It says, which paragraph contains the following information? So 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 sentences given. You have to read each sentence, you have to read each paragraph, and you have to find which paragraph contains which information. Let's say your question number 14 is present in paragraph number B. So your answer for question number 14 will be simply B. Understood? Great. Now look at this. What is it written? NB. You may use any letter more than once. Very important instruction. Most often than not, this instruction would be present in this particular type of question, which is to find the information in the paragraphs. Okay. very many times you will see for this particular type of question, they will always give you these instructions. Well, when I say always, it's not always, but very often. So we'll have this instruction of you may use any letter more than once. What does it mean? Think. It means that the given list of questions, in this case, the questions are from 14 till 17. So, from 14 till 17, in your answer sheet, from 14 till 17, you may repeat any letter. Repeating any letter means what? What are these letters? These letters are basically the labels given to different paragraphs. Correct? Now, if I have to repeat any letter, would mean that there would be two information present in one same paragraph. Only then I'll repeat the letter, no? For example, information number 14 is present in paragraph number A. And let's say information number 16 also is present in paragraph number A itself. So, my answer for question number 14 and question number 16 would be A for both the cases, for both the answers. So, in my answer sheet, in front of 14, I'll write A. In front of 16 also, I'll write A. Understood? What does it mean by you may repeat any letter more than once? Do you understand? Good. Okay. All right. Next type is matching names with their features. In the previous part, if you remember, we saw a sample where there was a list of explorers given and the statements given. You had to match which explorer has mentioned or has explored, or let's say which sentence matches with which explorer, to put it simple. Here what do we see? We have, look at the following statements, question 18 to 22 and the list of people below. Alright, next it says you have to match each sentence with the correct person, okay, or people A to E. Alright, that means there's one option where there are two people mentioned, not just one person. Interesting. Person or people. Look at it. Interesting. Instructions are always interesting. So then further it says write the correct letter A to E in the boxes 18 to 22 on your answer sheet. Now you have to find which instruction or which sentence matches with which person or people. Let's say for example, sentence number 18 is something which is matching with what Freeman said. Less time can be spent on exercises with gifted pupils who produce accurate work. Let's say this is what Freeman discovered, or he mentioned, or he stated this in the passage. In that case, your answer for 18 will be A. As simple as that. Okay? I hope this is getting clearer. The instructions, the value of instructions, it's very important to understand. And here they have not mentioned NB. So you will make sure that you do not repeat the letter. You will repeat the letter, or you can use any letter more than once only and only if it is asked, if they have stated that to you, if that note is given to you. If not, you will not repeat any letter more than once. If you do, it's your wrong answer. Understand this. So you may repeat any letter more than once only when asked, only when given it as a note. Alright? Great. Now, quickly, let's look at the last type of question, which is labeling a diagram, which is again similar to more or less fill in the blanks. Again, you see certain blanks are given. Yes, alright. A diagram is given. This diagram is labeled, and with these labelings there are sentences, sometimes just words or phrases, and there's a blank given which you have to fill by finding the right word from the passage. See, again the instruction, fill in the blanks, limitation for words. See, choose one word. from the passage for each answer. Alright, so your limitation is to write just one word for this particular set. So, did you notice that certain instructions are very typical? Especially for fill in the blanks type of questions, we always have limitations for words or numbers. For matching, we always have something, some instructions sometimes stating you may use any letter more than once. But we also notice that this is not there always, correct? For true, false not given and yes, no not given, again there were certain instructions slightly different. Did you notice that? Well, don't worry, we'll be covering this in the session when we are talking about true, false and yes, no not given in detail. In multiple choice questions, we again saw that there are two types, right? One is the common one that we know that out of the given list of options, you have to just choose one correct answer. But then there can be a possibility that you have to choose two or let's say three. Let's simply put it, more than one correct answer from the given list, correct? So these instructions are very, very important to focus on while solving the test. I would say try to bring your attention to these instructions from the very beginning. When you start practicing, you must pay attention to these instructions so that you are in the habit of reading them and your eyes always look for the correct instructions for the given set of questions so that in your exam you do not goof up. Alright? That's why paying attention to the instructions is very important. Because there are occasions I have seen that many students, many candidates, they end up writing incorrect answers just because they couldn't find the correct instruction. In fact, very often they are correct, but just because the instructions couldn't match, they did not get the mark for that question. This happens. So please pay attention to the instructions from the very beginning of your practice. Alright, so now in the next part, we will quickly understand how these instructions are slightly different in case of computer-based test. Well, they are not very different. They are pretty much the same. It's just because the format is changing. You are, instead of writing, you are now typing. So just for facilitating that, for typing, the instructions are slightly different. Okay, so let's have a look at that in the next part. See you there. Alright, so in the previous parts of this lesson, we saw the test format. In fact, we saw some samples also of general training and academic. Then we looked at the instructions and the importance of them. Correct. Now, how these instructions are different, or let's say how the test format for reading module looks like in case of computer-based test. What will you do for that? To have a quick practice or to make yourself familiar with computer-based test, only if you're planning to give computer-based. In that case, you can visit the official websites wherein you will get the chance to have a quick familiarization with the computer-based test of the reading module. Now, what are the official websites? Number 1, IDP. Number 2, British Council. Number 3, Cambridge. And number 4, IELTS.org. Okay, these are the official websites where you can always find the reliable and correct information related to IELTS, of course. So, here for example, I am taking IDP as the website. Here in the URL, I have typed www.IELTSIDPindia.com. Well, I am from India. That's why I have used this website, which is IELTSIDPindia.com. You can choose the one of your country. Alright. Now, once you visit this page, click on Prepare for IELTS. In fact, you don't even need to click. Once you hover over it, you will see it gives you multiple options. Here, go to IELTS Familiarization Test. Click on this and you will land on this page. Just scroll down a little. You will see listening, writing, and then you will see the option for reading as well. Now, in this case, if you just click on Academic Reading Test, I'm just giving you an example. If you click on academic reading test, it will bring you to this page. Now you don't really have to, check your name or other details. You can simply click on my details are correct. And then after reading the instructions, you can click on start test. Now scroll down and you will see options as listening, writing, reading. Once you scroll down, you will see sample tests, right? It says sample reading test. Here you just click on start reading test. Once you click on this, you will land on this page. Well, it's taking a little time to get loaded. Alright. Well, now you see the details are not present because you probably have not yet registered for the test, which is fine. You can simply click on my details are correct. After reading the given instructions on the page, click on start test. This is how your actual computer-based test would look like, by the way. You will just click on start test once asked. And now do you see, it's very interesting. The first very interesting thing that you must notice is that you can scroll your passage separately and your questions for these passage separately. Do you notice that the screen is divided in two parts? On one side, there's just passage, which you can scroll separately. Wow, I really like this. And on the other side, there are questions, which you can scroll separately. Interesting, isn't it? So, yes, this is what your actual test would look like. Once again, we have the heading, we have the passage, long passage, then we also have the questions. And now what do we see? Before we come and understand the instructions, let's just have a quick look of the screen. Do you see on the top bar, it says 60 minutes left. Now, when I hover over this time, it also tells me the seconds. Now there are 59 minutes left. Once I scroll down, it tells me 59. Rather, once I hover down. But when I hover over this bar, it tells me the actual time with seconds. Understood? Okay, that's one thing to notice. What else do we see on the screen? Alright, there is something at the bottom as well. On the left hand side bottom, I see a button called review. And then I see part 1, the questions for part 1. Then I see part 2 and questions for part 2. Then I see part 3 and the number of questions for part 3. Alright, let me try clicking on one of these numbers. Let's say I click on question number 9. Okay, so the moment I click on any number on this list at the bottom, right, I jump directly on that question, which is, in this case, complete the notes. One word only. Look at the instructions. Again, pretty much the same. So, I have to type in the correct answer over here. Right? Whatever my answer is, I have to actually type in my answer over here with the given limitation of the words or numbers. Alright. So, what do I notice is when I go to any given number in the given list in the bottom, right, I can directly jump on that question. Let's say if I'm not sure whatever answer I've marked for question number 9, I'm not sure if that is correct. So what I can do is I can click on this button at the bottom left, right? I can click on this. That means I am keeping this question under review. That means I would like to visit to this question again. So while solving, if I completed the test and if the time is still left, I would want to see which questions I couldn't solve properly or I'm not sure about. So I don't have to literally look for them one at a time. I can simply see which number is circled. Instead of being in the square box, it's now in the circular box. Look at this. Do you notice? Let me move on to any next question. Let's say if I click on this bar, the question number 10 bar, if I click on this, I again jump to question number 10, and now question number 10 box becomes blue in color. And look at question number 9. It's in the circular icon, right? Circular box, I must say. So, what do we notice here? That we can also put questions under review and we can revisit them as and when the time permits. Got it? Okay, even that's interesting. What else? Alright, so now let's go to the instructions for each type of questions. So in case of true, false, not given, look at the instructions. I believe it would be pretty much self-explanatory when you will look at these questions. So here, when I am standing on question number 1, I just have to click on the correct option. Let's say false is the answer for 1. I just have to click on it. I don't have to write anything. I'll click on question number 2, and if the answer is true, I'll click on true. That's it. I don't have to literally write TRUE or YES, yes, depending on what the question is. So for true, false, not given and for yes, no, not given, this is how you will be marking. That means it's again options given, you just have to click on the correct option. Okay. In case of fill in the blanks types of questions, all the fill in the blanks, whenever there is a limitation of word or numbers, you will actually click on the bar and type your answer. Let's say your answer is A, B, C, D, then you will type that. And if it is in two words, it would be E, F, G, H. In that case also, you will type your answer in that box. Clear? Alright, let's move on to next passage. Okay, here we see that the test has 6 passages, A to F. Which paragraph contains the following information? Now, which paragraph contains the following information? In that case, let's say answer for 14 is A. You will simply click on A. That's it. Answer for 15 is D. You will simply click on D. You see? Interesting, no? To mark the answers in computer-based test, it's simpler, I would say, but then it totally depends on you. If you are comfortable with paper-based test, you can go for that. If you are more comfortable with computer-based test, you can go for that. So you have to identify what you are comfortable with. It also depends on when you want your result. This is something that we have discussed already in the orientation session, so I don't think we have to waste time again over there. But then choosing between PBT or CBT, it totally depends on you. There are certain good points about computer-based tests. Then there are certain good factors for paper-based test as well. There are many candidates who are more comfortable to circle or to scribble, or they are more of old school like me. I also prefer to have a pen and paper test done. But then thanks to technology, we have a lot more facilities, and for many candidates, computer-based test becomes a lot simpler. All right. Well, look at this questions 18 to 22. Again, you have to match it with the correct person. The list of people is given below, and whichever is the correct person, you just have to click on that box. That's it. Simple as it is. Interesting, no? Yeah, I really like this. Next, answer the questions. Write one word only. This we have understood. You will click on the box and you will type your answer with the given limitation. Alright, so now let's move on to the next passage. Here we have yes, no, not given. Yes, we know how to answer this. Next we have, for example, choose the correct answer. Okay, so let's click on 32. I see 4 options. 32, 4 options. I click on 1, right? Next, 33, 4 options. I click on 1. When I try to click on another, I am unable to. I can click only 1 option at a time. I can't click 2 answers. What is this? This is multiple choice questions. Type 1, where you have a list of questions, list of options given. You have to choose 1 correct answer from this list. Simple. Next, I see it says choose the correct explanation. Again, now this also is matching the 2 lists. That means 1 list is given to you as list of explanations, and in 1 you are given the questions, which are basically the terms, right? What do we see here? Semantic memory. Now, based on the passage, whatever is the correct explanation for semantic memory would be your answer for question 36, and that you will simply click as your answer. Correct? You will not write, of course, there's no space. So, the point I'm trying to make here is, in case of computer-based test, you just cannot go wrong just by marking your answer incorrectly just because of instructions. The instructions are very much self-explanatory and they are very much leading you already to follow the correct instructions automatically. All you have to do is to find the correct answer. Understood? Okay. So now one good part about computer-based test is that you also can highlight. Many candidates are with the habit of scribbling or making circles or underlining or finding the keywords here and there. Similarly, here you can just, let's say for example, you want to highlight this part. Most studies show that around 25% of first memories are of a negative event. You select that, right click and click on highlight. Simple as it is. Let's say you have to mark earliest memories. Click on that, select that, right click, highlight. In fact, you can right click and make some notes also if you wish to. Right? Interesting, no? So, you still have the scope of highlighting and making notes in case of computer-based test. So, you have to find what is more convenient and comfortable for you as an individual. Alright, look at this. When I now hover over this time, it says 49 minutes 31 seconds left. Right? When I remove the cursor from there, it says 50 minutes left. So, it will not tell you the seconds on its own. You have to hover over it. Alright, so I guess pretty much that's it. How your computer-based test looks like in case of reading. Academic and general training both would look similar. That means the screen would be divided in two parts. On one side there would be passage, on the other side there would be questions, right? And everything would look similar to what we just saw. And the instructions are also very much similar to that of paper-based test. The only thing is, because it is a shift from writing to typing. That's why the instructions are slightly different. But did you notice the type of questions are all the same? There's no difference. Yes, no, true, false, finding information, anything and everything, that all will remain the same. In case of computer-based test, in case of paper-based test, your difficulty level doesn't differ. Please do not choose it just because you feel that computer-based test is simpler. No, it's same. Just a different mode of giving the test. Instead of writing, you are typing. Please understand this. I hope this much is clear. Alright, so here we have understood quite a lot about the reading module. Now it's time to start digging deep into it, understanding the right method, understanding the right steps to solve different types of questions, correct? That's what we are going to do in the following lessons. So see you there now. Bye. Hi again. So let's begin with the next lesson of the reading module. The objective of this lesson is to make sure that you are able to solve the reading test within 60 minutes of time. It should not take more than that. The second objective of this lesson is to make sure that your accuracy increases. Means your number of correct answers should become more and more and more. Yes? Now, when I say your accuracy should increase, means what? Means there is some accuracy already that you are getting, some correct number of answers, and you can get this only if you have started solving the reading test. Alright, now very important. Those who have not yet started solving the reading test. When I say the reading test, means again all 40 questions, remember. So those who have not yet started solving the reading test, it is very important that you stop the video now and go solve the test. Solve at least one test. right? All 40 questions when I say one test. In fact, not just one test, I would say solve 2 to 3 tests in order to come across different types of questions. Because in one test, it's not necessary that you will come across all the types of questions, right? So it is important to go through different types of questions, look at the instructions, read the passages, read the questions, see what method or what strategy you can figure out to solve these tests, these passages. It's very, very important that you do it on your own first, so that when we understand the method together, it becomes much, much clearer to you. Yes? So, stop the video and go solve the reading test now. Bye and see you soon. Well, so those who have solved a couple of reading tests before, for them, I have few questions. So, what is the method that you're using while solving? Do you read the questions first, or do you read the entire passage first, or do you read one question, then passage and find the answer, then second question, then passage and find the answer, then third question and passage and find the answer, then fourth question, passage, fifth question, passage, sixth passage, seventh passage, 8, then passage, 9 and then passage, likewise 13 and then passage, and then 14 and then passage. Are you using this method? Or do you read one paragraph, then read couple of questions, then second paragraph, reading couple of questions, finding the answers if they are there. If not, then next paragraph, again couple of questions, fourth paragraph, again couple of questions. Are you using this method? Or do you read 2-3 questions, then go to passage, then other 2-3 questions, and then passage again, then again few questions and then passage, likewise? Or do you read all the questions first, mark the keywords, and then find the keywords in the passage and then just try to locate the answer wherever they are? Or are you first reading the entire passage and then read the questions and see which question was present in which paragraph, which information was given where, and you just try to mark the answers based on that? Well, if you are using any of these methods, it is highly likely that you're wasting a lot of time and you're not getting the accuracy that you must. Okay? It's not about the understanding. So far, we are not yet talking about your understanding of the passage. We are still talking about the correct method. All right? We are still there. Understanding is something, we'll come to that later. We are just trying to understand the method with which you are solving the reading passage, and is it helping you to make sure that you're able to solve it within 60 minutes, and are you getting more accuracy? So the method that we are going to learn in this lesson will help you save time as well as bring your accuracy at a higher band. Let's begin. So now, with the help of my beautiful drawing, I'm going to explain you the method of solving the IELTS reading test. Alright, let's begin. Now, to just take a sample, let's just say that this is your passage and here is the heading. This is your heading, okay? And this is your passage. And it has roughly 8 paragraphs, okay? Let's just say paragraph 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. There are 8 paragraphs to this passage. Understand that we are just taking a sample, okay? Now, to this passage, there are 3 sets. Let's say set number 1 is true, false, not given, okay? For which we have 5 questions. Question 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Then let's say there is another set to the same passage, which is set number 2, and this set is to complete the sentences, wherein there are 4 questions, question 6, 7, 8 and 9. In the same passage, let's say there is set 3, wherein it's a multiple choice question set, And this also has 4 questions, question 10, 11, 12 and 13. Okay, so let's just say that this is a passage where there are 13 questions from 1 till 13, which are divided in 3 sets. Set 1 is true, false, not given. Set 2 is sentence completion and set 3 is multiple choice questions. Okay, remember this is just a sample. All right, now, so normally you must be reading all the questions first and then reading the passage, finding the right answer wherever you can. Or you first read the entire passage from the beginning till the end, then you read the questions and you find where the right answer is. Or maybe some other method that we just discussed a couple of minutes ago. Now, what should be the right method to make sure that you are able to save time and your accuracy is also increasing? So, for that, let me tell you something very interesting about the IELTS reading test. And that is the fact that each set has its own sequence. Now, what does it mean? It means that the questions will be in sequence and each set will follow its own sequence. Once again, let me repeat this. So, the questions that you will see will be in sequence. Okay? All the questions will be in sequence, but each set will follow its own sequence. Means each set is independent of the other sets. Now, let's understand this even better. When I say questions will be in sequence means what? Means question, or let's say answer for question number 2 will come only after answer for question 1 comes in the passage. Alright. Then answer for question number 3 will come only after answer for question number 2 in the passage. Likewise, answer for 4 will come after answer for 3 comes in the passage. Answer for 5 will be there only when answer for 4 has come in the passage. Correct? Now, this one set is over. One set is over. Now your second set is starting. In that case, your answer for question number 6, answer for question number 6 can come before 5. It can come before 4. It can also come before 1. Okay? Why? Because this is a different set and they are totally independent of each other. That means set 1 has its own sequence. It can start from anywhere and can end anywhere. The questions in this set will be in sequence. Same logic applies for set 2. That means questions for set 2 will be in sequence, but this set can start anywhere and can end anywhere. Same logic for set 3. So that means answer for 6 can come anywhere. It can come before 5, it can come before 4, it can rather also come before 1. But answer for 7 will come only after answer for 6 comes in the passage. Understood? Interesting, no? Yes. Answer for 8 will come only after answer for 7 comes in the passage. Likewise, answer for 9 will come only after we find the answer for 8 in the passage. Similarly, answer for 10 can come before 9 because it's a new set, right? It can come before 8, it can come before 7, it can come before 6, it can also come before 1 for that matter. Because it's a different set. Please understand this. However, answer for 11 will come only after 10. Answer for 12 will come after 11 and for 13 it will come after 12. Yes? This much is clear? Yes? If not, rewind and watch this once again. It's very important that you understand this concept. Once again, answers for each questions will be in sequence in the passage. However, each set follows its own sequence, and they are independent of other sets in the same passage. Understood? Great. Now, my question to you is, if you have understood this much, that each set follows its own sequence and the answers are going to be in sequence for each set, what should be the right method? Think about it. What should be the right method wherein you will be able to save time and find the answers for all the questions in just one read? What should be your method? What should be your technique? What should be your strategy to solve the reading test? Think about it. Think. All right. Now, let me tell you. Let me just clean the space a little quickly so that we are able to make new drawings, better drawings. All right. So now, you know that answer for question 1 will come and only then answer for 2 will come. So why should I waste my time and energy to read question number 2? Correct? I would simply read first question of each set. And in this case, I'll read question number 1, question number 6 and question number 10, and then I'll start reading the passage. As simple as it is. Now, before we understand when to read which question, let's just say your answer for question number 1 is over here. Answer for question 2 is here, 3 over here, 4 over here and 5 over here. Let's say answer for question number 6 is over here, 7 over here, 8 over here, and let's just say 9 is here. Then answer for question number 10 is somewhere here. Let's say 11 is over here and 12 here, and then 13 is over here. Now, obviously, when you're solving the reading passages, you are not going to know which answer is located in advance, obviously, right? But this is just a sample that we are trying to solve and understand what is the right method. That is why I am telling you this in advance, that let's just consider that answer for these questions are located at this point of the passage. Okay. So, what should be my strategy? I should read first question of each set, and that's it. I should not read the following questions because that will waste my time. If I know that question 2 will come only after answer for question 1 comes, then why should I waste my time and energy and memory to remember question number 2, right? Till the time answer for 1 comes. Once I find answer for 1, then I can read question number 2, correct? So, here what I'll do, I'll read question 1, question 6 and question 10. For this example, please understand, don't just take it as the rule for all the passages. Question 1, 6 and 10 for this example, because here we have 1, 6 and 10 as first questions of 3 different sets. Cool. Alright. So, now after reading question 1, 6 and 10, I'll start reading the passage. Alright, let's read the passage. Alright, Okay, I come across answer for question number 1. Great. What will I do? I found the answer for question number 1. I'll mark that answer. Now, before I continue reading, understand this. Before I continue reading, I'll read question number 2. Correct? Because the rule says that the answer for the next question will come in sequence, but it doesn't say that it will always be in the next paragraph. Not necessarily, it can be in the same paragraph. It can rather be in the very next line also, in the very next sentence also. Correct? So, once I find my answer for question number 1, I'll quickly read question number 2. Now, when I read question number 2, it is possible that because I read so much of the paragraph, I might have forgotten what was question number 6 as well as what was question number 10. So, maybe just a quick revision of question 6 and question 10 can be done before I proceed reading the paragraph. So, now I see what is question number 2. I may revise question 6 and 10 and then I continue reading. Alright, so let's continue reading. Alright, I got answer for 6. Great. What will I do here? I'll pause. I'll quickly mark answer for 6. Before I continue, I'll read question number 7. If need be, I'll revise question number 2 and 10 and then I'll continue reading. Correct? Okay. Again, while reading, I find answer for question number 2. I mark the answer for question number 2. Before I proceed, I'll read question 3. I may need to revise 7 and 10. I'll do that. And then I'll continue reading. Okay, well, found answer for 7 also while reading. So, I'll mark answer for 7. Before I proceed, I'll read question number 8. Now, I am at question 3, 8 and 10, correct? I'll continue reading. I found answer for 3. I mark it. I'll read question number 4. I'll continue reading. Okay, I find answer for 10 as well now. So, I'll mark the answer for 10 and this tells me that now set 3 has also started, correct? So, now before I proceed, I'll read question number 11. Now, I am at question 4, 8 and 11. Okay, I'll continue reading, Okay, I find answer for 8. I'll mark it. I'll read question 9 before I proceed. Now I am at questions 4, 9 and 11. I'll continue reading. Okay, I find answer for 4 now. I mark it. I read question number 5. Before I proceed, I'll then read the rest of the paragraph and try and find if I can find question 5, 9 or 11 anywhere. Okay, found answer for 5. Great. Mark it. Now you just need to remember 2 questions because one set is over. Great. Now you will remember question number 9 and 11. Alright, if need be, just quickly revise it and continue reading. Okay, well, alright, you get answer for 9. You mark it. Now set 2 is also over. That means you just need to remember 1 question. Okay. So, till the time your answer for 11 comes in the passage, you don't need to read question number 12. So, if need be, revise question 11 and continue reading. Got the answer for 11? Great. Mark it. Read question number 12. Continue reading the passage. Alright, got answer for 12. Perfect. Mark it. Read question number 13 before you proceed and then continue reading. Got answer for 13. Mark it. That's it. In one single read of the passage, from the beginning till the end, you are able to solve all 13 or 14 questions of the passage. This will help you save a lot of time. At the same time, it will make sure that your accuracy also increases. So, how is this method? Is it different from what you have been using till now? Yes? Well, if yes, I would strongly insist that you try this method from now on and see if your accuracy is increasing, if you're reducing the time that you have been taking till now to solve all 40 questions, of course. Alright, so now before we proceed, just quickly let's understand for candidates who are planning to appear for general training. In that case, look at this. In that case, you will just have one set of questions, right? If you remember, for the first 2 sections that we saw, that is section 1 and section 2, correct? In section 1, there are 2 texts. In section 2, there are 2 texts, correct? Your section 3 is just the same as what we just understood. So, for your section 3, you will use this method, okay? But for section 1 and section 2, where there are 4 small texts, for that, what will you do? As simple as that. There you just have one set of questions. Simply use read one question at a time. Go to passage, find the answer. Once you get it, go to next question. In that case, you just have to remember one question at a time. As simple as that. You don't have to remember 3 questions, especially for these 4 small texts, right? This strategy of reading 3 questions, or depending on the number of sets as you have in the passage, depending on that, you need to read 3 or 4 or 2 questions at a time, and remembering them is helpful for your 3rd section where you have a long passage, which is as good as any academic reading passage. So academic candidates will use this method for all 3 sections. All right? Great. Now, once again, I'm insisting, try using this method that we just learned. Just try. And in fact, I must say that till now you have been using one type of method, and then changing altogether your methodology of solving the reading test might, hamper a little on your style of solving. You might get confused sometimes that, oh, I don't have to do this. I actually have to do what I have just learned. So it is possible that in the beginning there would be a lot of confusion. So in this beginning, in this initial phase, whatever your accuracy is or whatever your time taking is, might not be the real or actual timing or score. You need to develop this strategy, this method. Eventually and gradually, then you will be able to see some improvement in your scoring as well as in your timing. All right. Now, I have a question for you. Do you remember in the previous lesson, I showed you different types of questions, and these different types of questions were divided in 2 parts. There were certain number of questions written on left hand side, and there were certain types of questions written on the right hand side. Also, if you remember, I asked you 2 questions at that moment. The first question was, why have I divided them in 2 parts? Why are there certain types of questions written on this side and certain types of questions written on another side? Why? Well, to help you recollect these types of questions, let me show you that page once again. So, do you see here we have types of questions, few written on one side and few on the other, correct? Now, the sample reading test that we solved just now, there were 3 sets of questions, and look at this. The questions were, number 1, true, false, not given. Number 2, sentence completion. And number 3, multiple choice questions. Do you notice that all 3 sets of questions that I took for this sample were from one same side? Yes? Do you notice that? Well, that means there's another type of questions that we have not yet touched. So far, what have you understood? Maybe now you can guess that questions which are written on this particular side are those questions which are going to be in sequence. Does it mean the questions which are on the other side are not in sequence? Well, yes, you're correct. If you could guess that, you're absolutely correct. So now let us understand the right method of solving the questions which are not in sequence in the next part of this lesson. See you there. Alright, so now let's quickly understand how to solve those questions which are not in sequence. But before we do that, let's understand the logic of why these questions are not in sequence. Okay? So, let's say there are 2 lists in front of you, or let's say 2 columns in front of you, okay? In column number 1, the labeling is, let's say 1, 2, 3 and 4. In column number 2, the labeling is A, B, C and D. Okay? What are we doing here? We are trying to match the column. Do you remember? This is something that you must have done in your school days, matching 2 columns. On one side, there would be certain names or some list must be given. On the other side, there's something that you have to match this list with the items in the next column. Yes? So, same logic. Let's try to apply it for the questions which are not in sequence. So, let's say there are 2 columns. Now, I have a question once again to you. Let us say answer for 1 is B. Okay, let's say answer for 1 is B. Does it mean that your answer for 2 will come only after B? It can't come before B. Does it mean that? No, it can't. Then it's not matching the columns. Then it is something else. It just can't be matching the columns, right? Your answer for 2 can be D, answer for 3 can be A, answer for 4 can be C, anything. Do you see all this crisscross happening over here? What is this? This is matching the columns. At the same time, I can also say that if I have question 1, 2, 3, 4, I'll say that these questions are not in sequence, right? They're not, because they just can't be, because it is kind of matching 2 columns. Are you understanding? Look at this. Now, if you have solved a bit of a list of headings or finding information or maybe matching the names with the features, you must have noticed that in the passage you have, let's say your passage is 1 column, wherein the labeling is A, B, C, D, likewise. And in your question, there is another column, which is question number 1, 2, 3, 4, likewise. And your question 1 is heading for paragraph A. Question 2 is heading for paragraph B. Heading for paragraph C is question 3. Likewise. Correct? Now, if these are 2 separate columns, then you can't really have, answer for, let's say the list of heading is given over here, and you can't simply say that if your answer for question number 1 is, let's say, heading number 4, then your answer for question number 2 will come only after 4. Can't be. Correct? It has to be crisscross. It can be anywhere. Right? Are you understanding? Once again, let me explain this. Let's say this is your passage. Here is the heading. Okay? And the paragraphs are labeled with different letters A, B, C, D, E, F, G and H. Let's say there are 8 paragraphs. So in your question, you will have your set number 1, let's say it's list of headings, wherein you have question from 1 till 8, and these questions are basically on finding the heading for paragraph A, paragraph B, and likewise till paragraph H, correct? And you are given a heading, a list of heading, of course. So let's say this is your first heading, second, third heading, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, and let's say 9 and 10. Yeah, they'll give you some extra headings to probably confuse you. Well, yes. So now you have 10 headings and 8 paragraphs. So on one side of the column, you have A, B, C, D up till H. That means 8 options. On the other side of the column, you have 1, 2, 3, 4 up till 10. Now you have to match these. Now, isn't that obvious that they just can't be in sequence? Let's say answer for paragraph A is heading number 5, for example. Does it mean answer for paragraph B, or let's say heading for paragraph B, will come only after 5? No, it can definitely come before 5. Yes? Alright, so now if this idea is clear, you will be able to easily identify what types of questions are not in sequence. Okay? So, those which are not in sequence, for example, list of heading or finding information or finding or matching the names with their features, these three very specifically, for them you will use this method that I'm going to explain you now. So, till now we understood that we are supposed to read the questions first and then go to the passage. Correct? Read the questions first and then go to the passage for those types of questions where the answers are in sequence. But in this case, when the answers are not in sequence, for these types of questions, you will not read the question first, you will read the paragraph first. Correct? So, you will read one paragraph at a time. Simple. Read the entire paragraph. Okay? Then go to this entire list of headings and try to find the correct heading for the paragraph that you just read. Okay, I understand the question is we are not able to find the correct heading. We get confused between multiple headings for one same paragraph. Oh, what not? Oh, hold your horses, please. Hold on. We will be dealing with each type of questions individually. At the same time, we will also understand the right steps, the right strategies for each type of questions at a time in the following lessons. So, have patience till we reach to list of headings. Okay? There you will understand this even better. For now, as I already told you, we are not working on your understanding. We are just working on the correct method to be used. Okay? The understanding part will come later when we'll deal with these types of questions in detail individually. So, have patience. Alright, let's continue. So, what would be the strategy for this? You will simply read one paragraph at a time. You will go to each heading, read each heading and check which matches with this paragraph. Let's say heading number 5 matches with paragraph A. So, your answer for question number 1 becomes 5. Simple. Yes? Once that's done, you will go to next paragraph. You will read the entire paragraph, get the gist of it, try to identify what would be the heading by reading the list given to you. And let's say you found the answer for B is maybe 8. So, your answer for question number 2 is 8. And likewise, you will solve the remaining paragraphs also. Correct? Now, let's just take another example of questions which are not in sequence by taking next type of question, that is finding information. Correct? Now, let's say this is your passage with a heading, and again the paragraphs are labeled by the letters which are A, B, C, D, E, F, G and H. And the question type that you're dealing here is going to be finding information. What does it mean? It means you will have certain questions, let's say question 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. And you have to find that in which paragraph these information are present. So, you're finding the information in the paragraphs. Again, the same logic. Let's just say information number 1 is present in paragraph number G. Does it mean information 2 cannot be present in paragraph B or rather in paragraphs before G? It can, correct? So, with the same logic, we'll say that this is also question type which is not in sequence, correct? So, here once again we'll use the same method. Now, before we revise the method, let me quickly tell you what we have already discussed in lesson 1. Do you remember such types of questions will always have a note which is NB, and it is always written you can use any letter more than once. Do you remember? What does it mean? It means that there can be more than one information present in one single paragraph. Correct? So, here also we'll use the same method. What we'll do? We'll read the paragraph. We'll read the entire paragraph first. After reading one paragraph, you will go to the given set of questions. You will read each information at a time. Let's say you read information 1, you won't know it was not there in paragraph A. You read information number 2, you see, okay, yes, information number 2 was present in paragraph A. Alright, in that case, your answer for 2 is A. Should you stop here? No, because it says you can use any letter more than once means there can be, it's a possibility that one of the following information is still there in paragraph A. So you will simply read the other, or let's say the following information also, just to make sure that if in this case information number 3, 4 and 5 are also present in A or not. Simple. Understood? So, just a quick revision. In case of list of headings, which are, of course, not in sequence. So, in case of list of headings, you will definitely not have 2 headings for one paragraph. You can't. Okay? But in case of finding information, especially when the note is given that you can use any letter more than once, you must make sure that you read the following other information also, even after finding one answer for one paragraph. Right? Why? Because there are chances that the other information are also present in the same paragraph. Clear? Yes? Now, let's go back to the same page where we understood 2 different types of questions, or rather 2 different parts of the types of questions, right? So on one side, we saw that there are certain the questions that I have listed over here are those which are in sequence. And the other side, we see there are other questions which are not in sequence. Okay, so I can simply say that these types of questions are in sequence, correct? And the method that I have to use for them is to read the question first, correct? Question first. For other types of questions, we have seen that these are not in sequence. Correct? So here the method that I should use is to read the paragraph first. Correct? I hope this much is clear. Yes? I know you have more questions in mind, especially when you look at this particular slide, this particular page. And the question is, how about labeling a diagram? Plus the question which I asked you in the previous lesson, which was, why is this, let's say these questions, summary completion, note completion, flowchart completion or table completion, why are these written on both the sides? Wait, hold on. Before we understand all these, in fact, before we deal with this question also, I again have a question for you. So, let us say you have so far understood how to deal with questions which are in sequence, plus you have also understood how to deal with questions which are not in sequence. So, I guess now it should be very easy for you to use the right method and make sure that your accuracy increases and your time also reduces. Alright, so this should be sorted by now. Yes or no? Or do you have a question here? If you have practiced before understanding this lesson, if you have practiced, alright, and if you also understood both the methods that I have taught you so far, I must say the method for questions which are in sequence and questions which are not in sequence. So if you have understood the method that I have explained you so far, then you must have a question here. Think about it. Let me repeat it once again for you. If you have practiced the test so far, and if you have really understood how to solve questions in sequence and how to solve questions not in sequence, then you must have a question right now. You must have a question right now. Think about it. Think. Well, have you come across a passage where there are, let's say, multiple sets, more than one, and there are 3 to 4 sets, even if there are 2 sets? Well, so let's say there are multiple sets, and certain sets are from type 1 questions. When I say type 1, let's say questions which are in sequence. Okay, let's categorize this by labeling them, right? Questions which are in sequence, we'll call them type 1. Yes, questions which are not in sequence, we'll call them type 2, just for our understanding. So, whenever you have solved any passage or any test, there must be some passages that you came across where there are questions from type 1 and also from type 2. That means if there are multiple sets, right? So certain sets belong to those which are in sequence, means type 1, and certain sets belong to those which are not in sequence, means type 2. You must have seen a passage where you have list of headings, which is type 2, and then you also have true, false, not given, which is type 1, which is in sequence, right? Now, we have understood the strategy of solving those which are in sequence separately. Here, you have to read the questions first, and those which are of type 2, that means which are not in sequence, like list of headings. This you have to solve by using a different strategy of reading the paragraph first, not the question first. Now, when both these types come in one same passage, what should be the method? Well, let's go to the next part to understand this better. See you there. Alright, so let's quickly understand how to solve those passages where you have questions in sequence as well as questions not in sequence. Okay, so let's again take a sample. Let's say again this is your passage which has 8 paragraphs and this is the heading, and your set 1 is a list of headings where the questions are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, just 6. They're not asking you the headings for other 2 paragraphs. Just taking an example, just relax. Set 2 is, for example, multiple choice questions, all right, wherein the questions are 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then you have third set number 3, which is, let's say, true, false, not given, wherein the questions are 11, 12, 13, and 14. Perfect. So, now, what should be your strategy? First of all, observe. Set number 1 is not in sequence. Basically, I can say this is our type 2, means questions which are not in sequence, correct? And set number 2 plus set number 3, these 2 types of questions are in sequence. So, I will say this belongs to type 1. So, type 1 questions, those which are in sequence, type 2, those which are not in sequence. Okay, so I have both the types for one same passage, correct? Now, I have understood that for those which are in sequence, I have to read the questions first. And those which are not in sequence, to solve them, I have to read the paragraph first, correct? Now, so what would be my strategy when I have both the types for the same passage? Simple as it is. Very good if you have already understood this. Look at this. What, or rather which sets belong to type 1, means those which are in sequence. So, set number 2, multiple choice, and set number 3, true, false, not given. So you simply read the theory. What we have understood so far is that you have to read first questions of these sets and then go to the passage. So follow that. Simple. You will read question number 7. You will read question number 11 and you will start reading the paragraph. One paragraph at a time. Let's say your answer for 7 is over here. 8 is over here. Let's say 9 is over here and 10 here. Let us say 11 is over here, 12 here, then 13 is over here and 14 over here. Let's just consider once again, yeah, just for understanding the right method. So what you will do, you will read question number 7, you will read question number 11 before you start reading the passage, and then you will go to the passage. You will start reading first paragraph, correct? You will read the paragraph. Okay, you are reading, da da da. You come across answer for question number 7. Great. Mark it before you proceed, because it is possible that answer for 8 is again over here. You don't know. You don't know. So you will simply read question number 8 before you proceed and read further. Once done, you did not find answer for 8. You didn't even find answer for 11. All right, no problem. Maybe in the next paragraphs. But hold on. What is the demand of set 1? A set which belongs to type 2 means a set which is not in sequence. The demand here is to read the paragraph first and then go to the questions. Correct? Simple. So once I have completed reading this paragraph, now I'll go to the given list of headings and I'll match which heading matches with this paragraph. Simple. Correct? Once again, let us understand. After finding answer for question number 7 and also after reading question number 8, if need be revising question number 11, it is possible that whatever you read over here, you have forgotten. And because of that, you might not be able to find the correct heading. In this case, the simple solution is to just give a quick read to whatever you have just read in this paragraph. Why? Because you have just read this, there are high chances that it would take lesser time to quickly give it another glance. Correct? Likewise, and also because this is just the very first paragraph, so it may take time for you to develop the meaning and to understand what this passage is going to be about, etc. Right? So first paragraph, maybe another read is required just so that you can answer your type 2 questions better. Yes? Now, once this is done, once you marked answer for questions which are not in sequence, you will go back to questions which are in sequence. Quickly give a read to question number 8 and 11 because that's where you are right now, and then you will start reading paragraph number B. Now, you read paragraph B, all right, read it. No answer for 8, no answer for 11. Forget it. Not there, must be in the next paragraph. So, now once this reading of paragraph B is done, you will go to the list of headings and you will find the correct heading for this paragraph. Simple. Once done that, you will again, if need be, revise question 8 and 11, go to the passage, read paragraph C, find if you see if you find any answer. If you find yes, mark it. Let's say 8 you found, you mark it and you read question 9 before you proceed. Now you are at 9 and 11. You continue reading, you find answer for 11 also, perfect, mark it, read question number 12. Now you are at 9 and 12, complete the paragraph. If you could find any of these, mark it. If not, once done reading the paragraph, find the correct heading for this paragraph and mark it, and likewise continue till the end of the passage, wherein you can take both the types hand in hand, right? You can deal with type 1 means those which are in sequence and type 2 means those which are not in sequence together, and in just one single read from the beginning till the end, you're able to complete your entire passage. Understood? Well, I can understand that this can be little challenging while practicing on your own. So, in the last lesson of the reading module, we will definitely solve some full-length passages together. Okay? So, have patience. By the time we reach there, I request you, I rather strongly order, if I may. Well, I don't know. I may not, but if I may, I command you to please start using this method and try and check how many correct answers you're getting now. Is your accuracy increasing? Is your time reducing? Yes, it will take time to get used to this method. It will take time. And sometimes it will feel very mechanical. Means question, then passage, found the answer, next question, then passage. And it may take some time to get used to this method because it may become little mechanical at times. So, please have patience. Try to use this method for couple of tests, at least 3 to 4 tests to get used to it, and then check if your accuracy has increased or not. Now, after using this method, we will come to know what is your actual accuracy. Means, now once you understand the right method, you will reach to your actual level of understanding, right? Now, whatever wrong answers you're getting is because there is a lack of understanding. That's why. Because now you're using the correct method. Now you're trying to find the answers at the right place. But if you're still not able to understand what the passage is saying, then this is lack of understanding. This is not because of the method. So, for example, you are scoring somewhere between 20 to 25 out of 40, and after using this method, your accuracy has increased and now you're scoring somewhere between 25 to 30. So, understand that this is now your actual level of understanding. Yes? Now, to make this 30, 35 or 40, we need to solve one type of question at a time strategically by understanding their steps properly, okay, which we will be doing in the following lessons. So, have patience. Just last but not the least piece of information I would like to tell you. When it comes to the reading passages, okay, let's just take a blank page and let's say this is your passage. I'm just taking an example again, okay? And there are multiple paragraphs, alright? Now, you will notice that more often than not, the first set starts first. Okay, your set 1 may start first, then your set 2 starts and ends somewhere in the middle itself, and then your set 3 starts, which goes on till the end. Okay? So, you will notice that whenever a set starts, it doesn't go on till the end of the passage. Again, I'm saying in general, okay, that's not a rule. But very often you will see that set 1 starts first and ends after a couple of paragraphs. Then somewhere in between set 2 will start and again it will get over after a couple of paragraphs. Likewise, set 3 also will start somewhere and then will end after a couple of paragraphs. And most likely set 1 will start first, then set 2 and then set 3. Okay? Having said that, please understand that this is not going to be always the case. There are chances that your set 1 starts later, first your set 2 starts, then somewhere your set 1 starts, and then after that your set 3 starts. Possible. Or anything, let's say your set 3 starts first, then maybe set 1 and then set 2. So, there is no guarantee that set 1 will always start first. No guarantee like that. And that is the reason why we read one question or first question of each set and then we start reading the passage, because you don't know which question will come first or which set will start first, right? Okay, we just know that in general set 1 can start first, but that's not necessarily, right? Okay, also sometimes, rarely though, but sometimes you will see that your set 1 will start, it will get over, then your set 2 starts, it gets over, and then your set 3 starts and then it gets over. In this case, it is very interesting because now all the questions from 1 till 13 or 14, all the questions are in sequence, not just questions of one particular set, right? So this becomes easier, but this is a very, very rare case. So don't rely on this. In fact, just understand the method that I have told you and try following that. Just see if that works for you. Again, a disclaimer, many candidates would appreciate the method and they would be able to see a lot of improvement in their scores and timing. Definitely, I can guarantee you this because I have seen this with many of my students. There have been a couple of students who have said that they are not very comfortable with this method because they already have developed their own style or their reading ability with the techniques that they are using by developing here and there on their own, and they are already getting good accurate score, which is their required band score. So they sometimes are not using this method but still are getting good accuracy. Great. The objective is to get the accuracy, to get your desired band score. That's the objective, no matter how you get it. Go ahead, do it if your strategy works for you. Yes? I have also seen certain candidates reporting that when they mix and merge their strategy and the one that I explained, by merging these two, they are able to get better accuracy. Alright, so that is the reason why I insisted so much that you must try on your own to find out the method on your own by reading some, or rather by solving some reading tests before you understand the method that I taught you in this lesson. Alright, well, if you have not done that, if you just directly understood this method, well, at least now use it and see how much is your accuracy. Okay? Alright, so just a quick note for general training candidates. See, for section 1 and section 2, where you have small 4 sections, or let's say small 4 texts, there you will read questions depending on the type of question, because here you have just one set of questions, right? For first 4 texts, you have just one set of questions. So here what you will do, you will see if this type of, or the type of question that you get, is it in sequence or not in sequence. If it is in sequence, then you will read the question first. You will just remember one question. You will go to the passage. You will read the passage and find the answer. Once done, you will go to the next question. So in this case, you're just remembering one question at a time. If the question set is that wherein you have to read the paragraph first, that means it's probably matching the headings or finding the information or something wherein you have to match 2 columns, right? In this case, you will read the paragraph first and then you will check the given list and match it. Simple. This strategy you will use for first 4 small texts, because here you have to just remember one small question or one small paragraph. For section 3, you will use the same method that I just explained. Okay? All in all, I'm trying to say that whatever you are going to do in section 3, the small bits or pieces of that you have to apply for section 1 and section 2. As simple as that. But for academic candidates, for all 3 sections, you have to use the same method. Understood? So here we finally complete understanding the method of how to solve the reading test. Yes? See you in the next lesson. Bye-bye. Well. So far, we have understood the right method to solve the reading passages, correct? Now, in the following lessons, we are going to understand each type of question. That means one question at a time, and we'll look at the strategy of dealing with that particular type of question with the steps that you are supposed to take while solving. Okay? Now, before we do that, it is very important that you understand how you're supposed to practice from now on. Of course, I understand you have been practicing so far, but now how you have to change the strategy of practicing. Number one, of course, you have to start using the method that we have learned so far, correct? Okay, apart from that, now please note down, because whatever I'm going to say is going to be very helpful for you to get a better score, a better band ultimately. So, number one, try to practice only from the official sources. What are these official sources? Number one, Cambridge English. Number two, British Council. Number three, IDP. And number four, IELTS.org. Okay, so please practice using these sources. You can use the books published by these sources, or you can visit their websites, whatever tests. There are lots of tests freely available on their website, plus they have published many books. Okay, so please use these official material only while practicing IELTS reading test. Because you see, there's a lot of material available out there on internet, but then it's difficult to say that the level matches with the actual IELTS test, right? There can be differences in types of questions, or the difficulty level of the passage, or the way the questions are created based on the passage. I mean, all other possibilities. And you don't need to practice that, correct? Because you need to get ready for your IELTS exam. Now, understand this. Why? Why is it important to practice from the official sources only? Because the method that we have learned till now, plus those which we'll be learning in the following lessons, will be applicable only if you are using the official sources. These techniques, these methods will be of no use if you do not use these sources, or if you use any other source for practicing your IELTS test. To be upfront, yes. All right, so that's the first thing that you have to do. Use official sources to practice. Number one. Clear? Great. Now, number two, please note down. While practicing, do not cheat. Be honest. Okay, this is very important. Do not cheat. Also, after answering one question, do not always go to the answer key and check if this answer is correct or not. Okay, I marked another answer. Let me check if this is correct or... Oh, wait. Solve the entire test. Have patience. You are going to check your answers, right? So solve the complete test first and then check. Please do not cheat. And be honest to yourself while correcting your answers. Now, what does it mean? So what happens is, many times you may come across an error that you made in your answers, which is related to spellings. And you're like, okay, it's just a spelling error. I actually found the right answer at the right place, so I should get marks for this. No, you don't. Why? Because, again, it is an error. Even if it is just a spelling error, it is an error, right? So you get 0 marks for this. You will not get marks for this. Please do not give yourself marks on this. Number two, you see, more than this, it is very important to identify what are your weaker areas. That's the main objective of analyzing. Once you corrected your answers, once you found that, okay, these many answers are incorrect, now analyze. Figure out which types of questions are mostly incorrect. Are you facing challenges with fill in the blanks types of questions, or are you facing issues with list of headings, or let's say finding information and list of headings, something like questions which are not in sequence, what we call as type 2, or something like maybe you're facing issues with questions like true, false not given, or yes, no not given. Majorly sometimes difficulties in finding right answers between false and not given sometimes. Yes, so try to analyze these weaker areas. What or where or in which types of questions you are facing more challenge. Now, that's the first step of analyzing. After this is done, and how would you do that? Of course, it will take couple of tests, right? Maybe after 2-3 tests, you will see, okay, I'm always facing issues with, let's say, true, false, not given, or matching the columns, or when I say matching the columns, the type 2 one, right? Wherein you have to solve the questions which are not in sequence. Or maybe multiple choice questions, or fill in the blank, whatever. Just figure out your weaker sections, weaker areas. That's just the first step. Now, your second step of analyzing starts. And this, my dear friend, is going to be very important. I hope I can call you friend now, because it's been a long time that we have been having the sessions now, right? Okay. Well, so now, in the next step of analyzing, understand what you have to do. So, let's say you solve the test and you figured that there are, let's say, 10 incorrect answers. For example, let's say there are 10 incorrect answers. They can be from a particular type of questions, or they can be scattered around. Few from multiple choice, few from not given, yes, no, or a few from list of headings, few from fill in the blanks types of questions. All right. Once you analyze, okay, that it's not one particular type of question where you're facing challenge, or it's probably one particular type where you are facing issues, whatever you analyze in the first stage. Next stage is to go back to the passage, read the question again, find where is the right answer. Now you know the right answer already, right? Because you just checked. For example, you marked it false and it was, let's say, not given, right? So now you know the right answer, that it's not given. The answer is not given. In that case, figure it out. Why were you not able to find this answer in the first reading itself? This is very important step. Please understand. Let me repeat this. What are you supposed to do? Once identified that these many are the incorrect answers, you have to go back to the passages and find where the answers are, where the real answers are. Why were you not able to find them at the first place? This step really makes wonders, okay? We do say that it's not magic, but trust me, if you do this step of analyzing, that means when you go back to your incorrect answers and figure out where are the correct answers and why you were not able to find them at the first place, trust me, this works as a magic. Yes? So, doing this will help you to make sure that in the next test, you are automatically getting better and better and better. Many students do not do this. Many students. But then, those who do see the result. Yes? So, if you also want to see the result, do it. Make sure that this analysis is done every time you solve your reading test. Alright? Now, after solving couple of tests, you will be then able to identify your weaker areas. Plus, after doing analysis, you will also be able to see that now the accuracy is increasing gradually. Yes? Now, once you attain a certain level, it is time to start practicing under exam conditions. What does it mean? Simple, okay? Number one, make sure that there is no disturbance around. Number two, you have to keep a timer in front of you. It can be simply a stopwatch. You can use your mobile phone for that. Simple. But make sure that you put your mobile phone on flight mode before you do that. And number 3, make sure that your question paper and answer sheet with some stationery is already there on your table. And then start solving the test. Make sure that you do not give yourself more than 60 minutes because that's the time limit. In fact, I would say keep 2 to 3 minutes as buffer and give yourself only 57 to 58 minutes. Why not? Let's just try. If you're able to do that within 57 to 58 minutes, then you always have an upper hand, right? In your exam, you never know if your attention gets distracted because of some disturbance around. So we should have these 2-3 minutes as buffer in hand, correct? So try practicing by limiting yourself to 57 to 58 minutes of time only. Try. But for this, as I said, practicing under exam condition is something that comes later. First, you have to focus on your accuracy, right? First, focus on accuracy, then focus on time, and then take these both hand in hand under exam condition, right? When I say first focus on accuracy means do not focus too much on timing initially. Let it take more time. Let it take more than 1 hour, if at all, right? It's fine. First, try to see if you're able to get the accuracy. If you're taking more than 1 hour, make sure that you get 40 out of 40 because everything is written there in front of you. There's no question which is not there in the passage. So, first focus on accuracy. Gain the confidence that yes, you understand what is written. And then, maybe eventually, once your reading skills gradually start getting better and better, then you will see that your accuracy is maintained and your time is reducing. Okay? Now, once you attain this level, then go to putting yourself under exam condition. Correct? I hope this much is clear. Yes? Remember, there are no tricks. In the following lessons also, we are not going to learn tricks as such. There won't be tips, there won't be strategies, but trick, magic, no, not possible. There is no magic. Nobody is going to come and use a magic wand on you and you will suddenly become better in reading. Your skills of reading will suddenly become better. No, trust me, this is not going to happen. If you really want to see the magic, start practicing. Because practicing is the key. I hope by now you must have understood this, at least to some extent. Yes? Remember, this is language and language comes with time. So spend time with this language. Basically, practice. All the best.